What's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today I'm checking out the Grim EDC Scythe pouch. I got mine in this cool retro arcade carpet pattern, but this one's not currently available, but several other patterns are. $50 on these pouches, and as long as you're selecting the Scythe pouch, regardless of what pattern you get, the design is going to be exactly the same, the dimensions are going to be the same, and the internal organization is going to be the same. So several of these available, just not this exact pattern. There was one that was pretty similar, but not quite the same. All of them are going to be 4.5 inches wide by about 5.5 inches tall, an inch or so deep unloaded. This one's closer to about 2 inches with the full loadout, and it's not super tightly packed, so it might get even bigger depending on what you put in there. The material on all of them is going to be the 6000D Cordura. Again, the pattern is going to be a little bit different, but they're all using that 6000D Cordura. On the front, you have a really nice large oversized loop panel that's 3 inches wide, the full height, so 5.5 inches tall. And the patches on there, the two ghosts are from the same company, Grim EDC. They're both still in stock if you're interested in checking those out. They're on the website at the time of publishing this. Who knows how long they'll last. There was a really cool Pac-Man one that I missed out on. That one sold out, but these two are still available, and I think the other two ghosts are going to be released sometime in the future. So if you're wanting to complete the set, I would try and grab these ones now, and then when they release the other ones, grab those at launch. The pouch crew on the top is a new pouch from the aptly named Pouch Crew Instagram account, and Everyday Patches. He does a ton of content around pouches, has some really cool patches and loadouts in general, really great photos on the account, and big in the pouch community, so definitely give him a follow, check him out. These patches sold out pretty quickly, so I'd imagine hopefully he'll continue to make different types of merch and that sort of thing, but yeah, they sold out pretty quickly, so you can't get these unless you buy them on the secondary now. The Wii Banter over here with the Wii Nunchuck handles or scales is from Aurora Knife and Tool. They actually made real version of these scales as well, but the patch is still available over on their website. It's Dangerous to Go Alone, Take This is from Gondak EDC. Don't think that one's still available, but I may be wrong. It lasted for a decent amount of time. And then lastly, the Castle Grayscale Game Over, Game Boy, and cartridge. These ones are definitely not available anymore, but can get them on the secondary. There's a Facebook group just for Castle Grayscale that you can sometimes find them on, so if you're interested in checking those out, I'll link to everything in the description. I don't really have, I'm not sure, maybe I have a couple affiliate links, just Amazon, but Grim EDC, any of the patch makers, and a lot of the stuff in here I don't have affiliate links for, but we'll still link to them in the description if you're interested in checking them out. Now, the backside has a little bit more Velcro. This is a full width, so about 4.5 inches wide by about 2 inches. So the Velcro extends a little bit past the top of this pocket, but it doesn't, there's no Velcro on the internal of the pocket, so there's no hook to secure this. So this is just kind of an open pocket. So I wouldn't put anything too heavy or slippery in there. You can definitely put like paper goods or thicker items that you know aren't going to slide out. But I tried putting a coin in there, and when you flip it over, it just kind of falls right out. So wouldn't put anything you're not willing to lose or that's not going to be super secure. I didn't put any patches on here. You definitely can utilize it for that, but the ones that I did try were a little bit too tall. I had a Mario and Luigi one I was going to put on here. They were a little bit too tall, so it cut off about half of them, so I just decided not to put anything there. But definitely usable real estate for more patches if you so choose. Zippers on them are YKK. They come with the paracord lanyard pull, but the bead I added myself. This is the JRW Gear glow-in-the-dark flex bead, and again, those aren't currently available, but he releases a bunch of colors every once in a while, and so if you're interested, definitely follow him on Instagram or join the Facebook group and you'll hear about the launches. They're not super hard to get, but they do sell out the same day, but you have a few minutes to grab them on that release window, so it's not like they sell out in seconds or anything like that. And sometimes they'll do pre-orders as well. The opening on this is full clamshell, which is nice. I always prefer that. It's not a deal breaker for me, but definitely a preference. And it opens up nicely. You see the interior shares that same pattern as the exterior for the most part, with some high-vis orange in the back. And then one other thing that you're not really going to be able to see on camera, but they're pretty thick, so they add an extra layer of the 6000D Cordura in between the front and back panels to add a little bit more padding and protect everything that's inside. And so, as always, I'm going to give you the dimensions on all of these pockets, but I like to load it out with kind of a mock loadout to give a visualization of the stuff that actually fits in there. Sometimes it's just easier to tell by looking at what's in there than going and measuring your gear. So I like to put an actual mock loadout to just kind of help with the visualization. And also I just think it's a little bit funner to go over the contents rather than just the pouch and the dimensions. But this particular pouch, my inspiration was just fun, and I tried to match with the theme of the pattern and go with just fun items more so than practical items. So this one's a little bit different, but just really took that inspiration from that pattern and kind of rolled with it. Almost a mirror image on the left and right side in terms of pockets. The back pockets are exactly the same. They're about 3.5 inches deep and the full width, so 4.5 inches, although it's more like 4 inches of usable space when taking into account the seams and whatnot. So about 3.5 by 4.5, or by 4 inches on the back pocket on both sides. The front organization is where it's a little bit different. On the left-hand side, you have these pockets, and they're sewn down the middle, and so those are 1 3/4 inch wide by 2 inches tall, and there's not a lot of give to them, so they're pretty rigid. So a 2 inch wide or a 1.75 inch item may not fit in here, even though the pocket's wide enough to accommodate it, because you just don't have a ton of extra material. So if it's a pretty thick item, you might have to go a little bit smaller to fit it in here. On the right hand side, instead of those pockets, we have these 3 elastic loops, and they're varying width. The first one's probably just over an inch, the second one's more 1.5 inches, 1 3/4. The third one's around 1 1/4 inches. So varying widths there, but those are the key kind of differences between the sides. One has pockets on the front, one has elastic loops, and the backs are exactly the same. So on this one in the back, I utilized it for just some pocket jewelry and a coin. So the coin is this Princess Peach, obviously kind of appropriate with the arcade theme. And this isn't some like EDC collector's coin. I got this inside of a chocolate ball. I think it was like $4, I don't know. It was definitely branded and partnership with Super Mario Brothers or Nintendo, but nothing special. You get random coins that had different characters. And so I put the Princess Peach in there. And for just kind of pocket jewelry, this JRW gear, same as the bead, Curator Flex in tie-dye. Just thought the colors were fun and appropriate here. These don't really serve any purpose whatsoever. They're pocket jewelry, they're fun to look at, and they're good conversation pieces. I sometimes use them as trays for screws and stuff that I don't want to lose, but they actually released mini trays for exactly that purpose, so really render these completely useless, but I still like carrying them and collecting them, so they're just fun items. And that's kind of similar to this. It's technically a knuck, but really it's just pocket jewelry. I'm never gonna actually use it as a knuck. So this is the Workerman Womp, and put this one in there for 2 reasons. The color scheme obviously reminded me of that retro arcade color scheme, and then the womp just sounds like a sound effect from an old video game, and so thought this was appropriate. But it will function as a knuck, but their knuckles are highly illegal here, and so never really gonna get use out of that for that purpose. Now, last item on this side is the Meritac or CountyComm Peanut XL. This is just basically a Zippo. It twists on and off. I think this should have some fluid in there. Yeah, it definitely has some fluid in there. And so basically just a twist on Zippo. And again, really just went with this for the color. Tried to get that neons and retro color scheme going, and so went with that over a typical Zippo. I'm not actually 100% sure if a regular Zippo will fit in here. I think it will, but pretty snugly, so that might have been a better choice anyway. Onto the elastic loops on the right side. First up, I went with the Boker USB. This is a little out the front knife. I think this is the only item in here that I have a video on, so if I remember, I'll put a link up in the corner, but just search for Boker USB if you want to see the video on that one. Obviously went with this one because it matched with the Womp, but really the only reason I chose that knife over some of the other ones I was considering. Flashlight, I went with a Rovi Vaughn Aurora A5. This one's a cool little flashlight, really budget friendly, and the reason I went with this one is it does glow in the dark. It has this little side light that you can use for reading, or it's not super bright, so nice option instead of the regular light. But once you use that, it charges the frame up. You're not really going to be able to tell because I have my table lit up pretty well for the video, but the whole frame will glow in the dark. You can charge it with another light source. It's not very strong and it doesn't last very long, so the bead is going to last way longer than this and charge way faster than this one, but it still glows in the dark, making it easier to find and just kind of match the theme again. Now for the pry bar, I was considering doing the Crispy Donut Community Rogan USA collaboration with the sprinkles, but I've featured that in a lot of videos. I've never had this one, so thought I'd switch it up, go with something lucky. Hopefully you're winning the jackpot and getting all the tickets to get whatever prize you want at the arcade. But went with the Leprechaun. This is not a collaboration. This is just one of his monthly themes for St. Patrick's Day. And so the same exact pry bar as that Crispy Donut Community one that I show sometimes, just a little bit different theme. So I thought that was kind of fun. And last but not least is a Hank from Awesome Hank Gear. And this one is very appropriate. Obviously went with the Pac-Man. Huge fan of Pac-Man in general. Obviously have the patches out front, tattoo on my arm, and just like Pac-Man. So this got that super retro feel, has this smoky, crystally blue bead. You had the choice of different beads, went with that one to match with the ghost on there, but there was a few different beads that matched with the various ghosts, and so super fun hang from there. It's pretty small, I think 4 by 5-ish or so. So not a ton in there, didn't go overboard in terms of loading it out, but I really like the organization on this pouch. I think it's done pretty well. It's pretty simple but straightforward and fits a lot of different size gears and types of gears. So you have a lot of options in terms of what you put in here. Obviously I went with the funner loadout, but realistically you can fit some actual gear in here that's really only utility based, and it's going to be a perfectly functional pouch, so don't let the contents of mine kind of mislead you. In terms of carry, this is kind of a back pocket carry for me. It's a little bit large for a front pocket. It definitely fits in some jeans, but just feels too bulky, especially with the patches on it. So if you want to go kind of low drag, just drop the pouches. It slides in and out of your pocket pretty well. When I do back pocket carry, I don't sit on it. So when I get in the car, I'll throw it in the center console and then throw it back in my pocket when I get out. But it also works in a sling bag or backpack, whatever you want. But small enough that it works well as a back pocket carry without being too bulky. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Definitely check them out. He has one other size of pouch. It's currently sold out. I think it's a newer design, so maybe we'll see different patterns of that one coming out eventually. But as long as you buy the Scythe pouch, it's going to be this exact format and dimensions. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.